Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Pastor Shane Explains. I was just finishing up shooting another edition of Pastor Shane Explains when my wife called and said, hey, you should do one on what to do if your parents get divorced. That's a great idea. I married a very good woman. If you want to know how to marry somebody who is just the right person for you, be sure and check in the description below for another Pastor Shane Explains about how to marry the right person. But that's another edition. This edition is really important. I know what it's like to go through as a kid in a broken home where divorce has taken place. That's my story. More than once, actually, growing up, my home was divided. And so I learned from an early age that mom and dads don't stay together. That was my norm. I've since learned that doesn't have to be the case, but that's how I grew up. I know the pain, I know the struggle. And if you're going through that right now, I want to offer to you 4 things that you can do if your parents are going through a divorce. Number 1, you need to remember, divorce can make you feel like you're crazy. Divorce can make you feel like you're crazy. Stuff can happen to you in your mind, your feelings, for seemingly no reason at all. You can be going along your day just fine after a divorce has taken place in your home, and then suddenly you're angry. Or some people, they even get excited about something. They're not sure exactly why. More often it's expressed in negative emotions, and you can just after a while start to feel like you're going nuts, like you're going crazy. Well, the fact of the matter is that is classic sign of how a kid feels when their home is breaking up. They feel like the world has separated. Their world has separated. It's been destroyed. A relationship with mom or dad, one or the other, they're probably not living with right now because of that divorce, and you're feeling that pressure. It can make you feel like doing crazy stuff. Let me just insert something here. If you're feeling crazy, try not to do anything dumb. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm talking to myself here. I look back over my life when I was a kid going through those divorce times. I did some dumb things. I got into fights with other kids I shouldn't have gotten in fights with. I said stuff I shouldn't have said. I broke stuff I shouldn't break. That was how I chose to deal with the craziness there, and I got to tell you, I regret doing it that way. There's better ways to do it. But I want you to know, if you're feeling like if you have crazy stuff going on in your head, you're normal. You're not crazy. You're just going through a very, very difficult thing. Number 2, talk to God and with people that you trust. Talk to God and with people that you trust. Now, for me, when I was going through those years, this was a difficult one. I didn't feel like I had many people I could talk to, and I wasn't real good at talking to God yet. I wish someone had told me that was okay to do, that I could tell God, I could be honest with how I was feeling. I could go out in places like this. I could yell, I could scream at God. God, why'd you let this happen to me? Why didn't you keep my mom and dad together? Why am I going through this? God's big enough. God is big enough to take those things. And a true loving relationship with God means that when we're not feeling so good, that we can come to God, we can express ourselves honestly, and know that He will still love us just the same, that He will give us the courage and the strength that we need. So talk to God. Be honest about how you're feeling. Do it frequently. Some people journal. They write things down. Our brain sometimes functions a little bit better, more clearly about our feelings in particular, if we have a pen in our hand. So I know we do stuff with keyboards these days or for our thumbs, but go back to an old-fashioned pen or pencil on a piece of paper. It can do wonders for helping to sort through how you're feeling. When you pray out, you write out your prayers to God. Talking also to people that you trust. Maybe it's a trusted friend. Maybe there's an adult, a teacher, a pastor, somebody like that. Talk to them. Ask them. Make an appointment. Don't be shy. Tell them how you're feeling. You just want somebody to talk to. Even going to a Christian counselor can be a great thing. Not all Christian counselors are created equal, but keep going until you find one that you like. They are out there, and they can do great good for you. Talk to God and talk to people that you trust, and do so honestly, and you'll be surprised at how much strength you can find, and sometimes even answers that can be given to help you work through the struggles you're going through. Number 3, work hard at good things. Work hard at good things. Now again, this can be a challenge. I look back over my years when I was going through that time and my folks were divorcing. Some things I put a lot of energy into weren't very good. Got in trouble, made a mess, hurt other people, hurt myself. I wish that I had done more of what I did do sometimes, and that was working at good things. For instance, I kind of threw myself into schoolwork. I was dirt poor growing up. I didn't have a dad at home. But school, for me, it was something I could really pour some energy into. Now you may say, well, I don't like school at all. There's got to be something good that you like. Maybe you've got an after-school job, or maybe if you're a young adult, you've got a job. Maybe there's ways that you can help people. Do something that is positive, that is good, that God, needs help with in the world to be done, and pour this energy that you've got inside of you into a positive thing rather than a negative thing. It's not always easy, but I tell you, the results are much easier to live with. It causes you a whole lot less pain. It may cost you a lot less money. You won't be breaking stuff. Instead, you'll be positively contributing. I've seen a lot of kids from divorce homes, when they have learned to do this, boy, the positive difference they can make from the disarray, the brokenness of their home. They can move and do really good things for God, which brings me to number 4. The fourth thing to remember when your home is going through divorce, when your parents are separating, is that God does great things with people from broken homes. God does great things with people from broken homes. One of the messages that sadly comes home to every kid of divorce, myself, you, if you're going through it right now, every kid experiences this. We think that God doesn't want us, like we've been abandoned. Because when mom or dad leave, it's almost like God himself is leaving us behind, and we think, oh, there's something wrong with me. I must be too broken to be useful to anybody. Nothing could be further from the truth. Just because your parents made a mistake doesn't mean that you are a mistake. God loves you. He loves you just like he loves everybody else. Even those fancy kids from homes whose parents are still together, which I always dreamed about. Wow, what would that be like? What would it be like to be in their home, to be like that kid? Well, guess what? God loves me just the same as that kid. He loved me just the same. He loves you just the same, and he can do great things with your life. Even the Bible proclaims this very clearly. Remember a guy named Joseph? Okay, his parents weren't necessarily divorced, but his mom was dead, and his home was a wreck. I'll mention more about that in just a moment. And yet he became one of the greatest leaders in the history of the world for God. What about Esther? Her parents weren't just divorced. They were gone. They were dead. They were completely missing from her life. Talk about a message of abandonment, of, oh, you're not worthy to be stayed with. Even your parents died and left you. And yet Esther became one of the greatest heroes, again, in the history of the world for God. And how about those 12 patriarchs? The 12 tribes of Israel, Joseph's brothers. They were a mess. They were an absolute wreck. Talk about broken homes times 12. It was just a mess. And yet Jesus Christ came from that family line. Those men, broken as their lives were in the beginning, many of them ultimately became heroes of the faith. You can do the same. So aim high. Bring your desires for God and say, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? What adventures do you have for me? What missions do you want me to go on? Don't settle for second rate because you come from a broken home. Don't do that. God has great plans for you, and he specializes in taking people from broken homes and doing great things with them. If you're going through a divorce with your folks here right now, I want you to know that I'm praying for you. My guess is probably other people are too. Do not be discouraged. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Jesus knows what it is to be separated from his family. Even on the cross, you remember what he said? My God, why have you forsaken me? Because it felt to him like he was being separated from everything that was his Father. And yet on the other side of that was the resurrection and reuniting with his Father, and ultimately being able to save all those in the world that wish to be saved. He knows how you're feeling. He knows how to fix it. Put your trust in him. It's going to be all right. Thanks for watching this edition of Pastor Shane Explains, and we will see you next time.